show. Geeks with Issues, you're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. You know who else was a geek with an issue? Spider-Man, yeah!
Cause there's a geek in your face and the geek's got issues. Geeks.
Hey, true believers, welcome back to another exciting episode of Geeks with Issues 20XX. We've got a lot of exciting things to discuss, but before we get into it, let me introduce to you. I'm going to introduce to you your geeks, and I'm not going to abuse my microphone because the control room will get mad about it. Okay. I'm thrown off, but let's say hi to Andy.
I'm Andy.
And let's also say hi to Ogre.
Hi, Ogre.
And I, your friendly neighborhood Geekmaster, a little bit flustered, Tuck.
Hi, Tuck.
Let's get into a topic that Andy suggested about pet peeves in pop culture.
Yeah, so particularly with like audiovisual media, movies and TV shows, we're all geeks. We all have certain things that we're very intimate in our knowledge of, and certain things just bug us when we watch movies and TV shows. So I'd like to talk about that. For me personally, it's I hate it when they like take off space helmets when they get on board a ship after they haven't, when they're not sure that like there's air that's going to continue being present on the ship, or like taking off helmets in battle and stuff like that, and still suits. Like the new Dune movie, they make a big deal about how you have to wear the still suit properly in the deep desert. And then what does Paul do the first time he goes into the deep desert? Takes his hat off and is just like staring open-mouthed, leaking all of his moisture everywhere. Our fellow geek, Sean Robbins, has a big issue with flashlights. You know, like you're talking about modern or near future sci-fi, where they've got military people with like what looks like a mag light mounted to their rifle, and it's illuminating less than a mag light does in 2025. And you know, yes, it's a staple, especially when they're trying to create horror and suspense. I know why they're doing it, but it's stupid to do that. And like, you know, The Mandalorian proved and showed that you can hide a person's face and still have the actor show all of their emotion. So if we can do these things, why are we doing it in a stupid way? What pet peeves do you guys have about movies and TV?
See, I've been thinking about this topic, and I'm going to have to think a little bit more about this topic. My only addition is, at least at the moment, is an appreciation for the foolishness of helmets, because this plays over into tabletop miniatures in that in the grimdark universe of Warhammer 40K, no one wears a freaking helmet.
Yeah.
Including all of the people who are like really important.
Yeah.
If they're really important and they lead a group, you know, because they
They're
don't
not wearing
have a
their
freaking helmet.
Yeah. Ogre, what are your thoughts?
I got a couple when I first heard it. In the same vein as flashlights, how people use lanterns in video games and movies and stuff. They hold it out in front of their face.
Yeah,
to
so that
see
they're
in front
looking
of
into
them.
the
The moment you do that, you cannot see anywhere beyond that lantern. You have to hold it way above your head or behind your head or below, out of your line of sight, in order to be able to see anything there. And it's all 100% part of the filmmaking, so you can see the actor's face, but that throws me out every single time. And the other one that kills me is sword and knife fights. If you know anything about real sword and knife fights, everything looks wrong. So you have to really separate yourself from you know, the reality of what, you know, you go watch HEMA fights where the professional swords and armor people fighting each other. It looks wildly different from what stage sword fighting or stage knife fighting and stuff. Probably just to throw out the most accurate sword fight I've ever seen on TV was The Duelists by Ridley Scott. This was
Okay.
back in, I think, the 80s or 70s or something with Harvey Keitel. Outstanding job with you had them, oh, you cut my hand. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I have to do this. The fights were precise, over
Yeah.
very quick,
Yeah.
very, they felt dangerous, which is
Yeah.
really what you have to capture.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you mean swords don't make metallic sounds when you swing them through the air?
If it's the wrong metal, they do. Wait.
Yeah.
So I think I've laid upon my pet peeve, and that's when, for the purpose of a movie audience, a movie causes a character who has a well-established set of behaviors to behave out of character. The biggest sort of culprit of this, in my mind, is the Star Trek: The Next Generation movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The amount of times that they reset Data's character
Yeah. Just to do some new gimmick.
so that they can do a new gimmick just for that movie.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You can't even hand wave it away at a certain point.
Yeah.
It's deeply distracting for the type of person that you are trying to get to watch this movie.
Yes.
And I understand that's not who the producers are interested in having watch this movie. So that's why they force the latest gimmick to be in there.
Yeah. Yeah, like the new Star Trek movies aren't really very much Star Trek. They're just action movies set in the Star Trek universe.
Yes. Maddening.
Yeah. But like Game of Thrones did a similar thing where all of the smart characters got very stupid in the last season so they could try to direct the plot down a certain way that didn't really make a lot of sense.
Right.
I mean, they passed what George R. R. Martin had written.
Right.
Is another problem, but I'm surprised no one mentioned hacking as a thing that they do wrong in movies, but we don't have time for that.
Oh yeah, dude, you can't dramatize real hacking. You really can't. You just
Click, click, let me get a coffee. It's not how that works. So speaking about getting a coffee, Ogre has a question about food and gaming.
yeah. Are there any foods in gaming? And we can open it up to anything, TV shows, film, anything like that. But in gaming that you've always wanted to try, any food or beverage or anything that has always been like, you know what? That.
So it's a terrible idea. But it comes with, of course it comes with a deeper story. I have a thing about Nuka Cola from Fallout, mostly because there was, with the release of Fallout 4, there was a tie-in with Jones Soda Company, where for the first time ever, they've since done variations on it. But for the first time ever, they sold a pack of Nuka Cola. And I didn't know about it before that, but it was one of those notorious scalper things where if the employees in the store didn't get the item first,
A bunch of scalpers would clear them out.
then the scalpers would clear them out. And
Started using the bottle caps as currency.
certainly preparing to use the bottle caps as currency. No, and I have been deeply frustrated because they sell like that set of soda online. Like you can
Yeah.
get that original soda. I will never be able to drink that soda because it's so out of code at this point. So
You could get it and have it in colorful bottles on your wall, but
correct. But drinking, it's probably ill-advised.
yeah, probably. Yeah, I've been thinking about, like, there's a lot of, there are like cookbooks that you can get now that have like Lord of the Rings recipes or World of Warcraft recipes and other stuff like that. I don't know. I think I'd like to try like some sort of Hobbit meal would be a good one to have.
Very nice choice.
Yeah, because like that, like especially like a good Hobbit second breakfast. Seems like that would be my sweet spot. They had like a Denny's promotion when like the Hobbit movies were coming out. There was like some sort of breakfast special that they had, and those were pretty good. But yeah, like there's some stuff like I'd be really curious to try something that was like spice from Dune flavored. Like I don't know how they would do it or what they would do, but that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, what does melange taste like?
Yeah.
That's an
Little
interesting
cinnamon.
question.
Yeah, for me, so the one, it's in the same vein as Tuck's, where no, don't do it. Gagh from Star Trek. So, Gagh,
Oh yeah.
those are living, prepared living worms.
Yeah,
When I saw that the first time on screen, I was like, this is triggering I need to eat all the unique flavors in the world. Need there. Another one that I thought of was the sea salt ice cream from Kingdom Hearts, because I have a thing for salted caramel ice cream. That's one of my favorites overall. And another one I thought of was the crab risotto from Breath of the Wild, just because I love a good risotto. And that one also caught my attention when I was like, oh man, a crab risotto.
I'm not a seafood fan, but in one D&D game we did eat a rust monster, and the GM described it as it's like really good seafood. And we had a whole bunch of leftovers, and the leftovers were not good. In that same D&D game? I think it was that same D&D game. This was like a sort of a post-apocalyptic world. And one of the characters had lived on like packaged food, like Twinkies and stuff like that, and was trying to get these townspeople to recreate a Twinkie recipe. And the GM described them as making something that was like cornbread, but with like goat cheese filling. And someone's like, oh, that actually might be pretty good. So that player actually made the town was called Minka, and so they made a Minky that was cornbread with goat cheese filling, and that was not too bad.
Okay. So moving from things that are not too bad to things that are awesome, let's take our journey from the basement. This week we are headed to New York Comic-Con 2025, where we get an opportunity to see some of the amazing cosplay that came out during the time that Trevor was visiting the con. Let's take a look.
Alright, so here's the thing. New York Comic Con isn't just an event, it's a pilgrimage for pop culture. Every October, fans flood the Javits Center like it's the world's biggest crossover episode. Marvel, DC, anime, everything in between. But the real stars? They're not up on the panels. They're walking right past you in 10 pounds of foam armor. Cosplayers turn this place into a living, breathing multiverse. Every hallway's a movie crossover waiting to happen. You'll see Spider-Man chatting with Sailor Moon, a Mandalorian holding a latte, and at least 5 Deadpools doing a coordinated dance number. It's chaotic, creative, and honestly, kind of beautiful. Because for most of us geeks, this is the dream. To take the stuff we love and become it. Even if it's just for a weekend. From the basement workshop to the big stage, this is what fandom looks like when it comes alive. start talking to cosplayers and realize every single one's got a story. Some spent 6 months perfecting every seam in a paint line. Others threw their costume together last night with duct tape and faith. But they all have that same spark. That moment where they said, yeah, I can build that. Cosplay isn't just about accuracy, it's about identity. It's about walking into a crowd of 100,000 people and still feeling like you belong. Because everyone here gets it. You don't need to explain why you love something, you just show up wearing it. And when a kid stops to ask for a photo, or a fellow fan recognizes your deep-cut reference from a 1993 comic issue, that's connection. That's magic. That's the kind of energy that keeps the glue guns hot all year long. By the end of the weekend, the wigs are lopsided, the props are breaking, and everyone's running on caffeine and good vibes, but no one's ready to let it go. Because Comic-Con isn't just a convention, it's proof that our fandoms have a heartbeat. Back home, the armor goes back on the shelf, the sewing machines start humming again, and the next build begins. We call this show Journey from the Basement for a reason, because that's where the magic really happens, not under the spotlights, but in the late night crafting sessions, the trial and error, the love that goes into every costume. So here's to the dreamers with the glue guns, the heroes made of foam and heart. You keep the fandom alive, one con, one costume, one crazy idea at a time. This is Journey from the Basement, and we'll see you in the next universe.
So geeks, thinking about times that we've been to Comic-Con in the past, or times that you've been to conventions more generally, what is a cosplay that's sort of stuck in your head?
For me, it comes probably literally the biggest one I've ever seen was a gentleman built himself shard plate, which is essentially a giant suit of armor and a shard blade. This is from the Stormlight Archive series. This is a 6-foot giant sword and giant power armor out of foam and different things, and it was the first time seeing something so well done and large, because it's since the last time I was at a Comic-Con versus 10-15 years later, the technology of cosplay has changed so much that it's just impressive what people at home can do, and just kind of inspiring to a certain extent. You're like, I want to do that. I have no skill in it. I want to do that. I have to figure it out. So that was my oh my gosh moment when I saw cosplay.
Mine was also a Brandon Sanderson IP. It was one of the Inquisitors from the Mistborn, which, for those who don't know, they have like metal spikes driven through their eyes. So like imagine like not a 9-inch nail, but like a 29-inch nail driven through the eye. So it looks like they're wearing just like black goggles, but there is the rest of the nail comes out the back of their heads several inches. And yeah, it was scary looking and intimidating looking.
Okay.
That was wild.
See,
wow.
Mine is far more mundane, but the first time I saw someone cosplaying a space marine, an ultramarine, of course, but knowing that the scale to which those are built, and then seeing someone actually do it, and seeing it walk by is just, you get a little bit of that feeling of, you know, transhumanism discomfort.
Yeah.
Like, I know this isn't real, but okay then. All right, so the last item on our conversation is another hearkening back to a previous episode that we did where we talked a little bit about retro tech, technology where people have taken modern sensibilities and modern elements and built them into classic technology in one way or another. So I recently learned about a brand new, coming out in 2025, 8-bit gaming console.
Interesting.
My reaction to it, now I grew up on the NES, deep fondness for, as we learned last episode, voxel-based games.
Yep.
The look of the game does not necessarily need to be realistic as long as it plays well into the gameplay and the feeling of the experience.
Yeah.
So, on paper, I should have no problem with this. I looked at it and they're going, oh, it's, you know, it's got, you know, the RCA connectors, the yellow, white, and red connectors that you can convert over to a CRT, and it's got an extra frame buffer so that things are smoother, and it's not a emulated console. So like a RetroKin console is capable of playing old NES games because it uses similar hardware. Yeah. This is a completely brand new console.
This is not a handheld.
No, it is a plug it into your TV, designed for people to make brand new games on. My only reaction to it was, why does this exist?
Yeah, that's curious. It reminds me of the that handheld that was announced back in 2019 called Playdate. It was a 1-bit subscription, or I don't know if it was a subscription, but you would get brand new 1-bit games monthly on it, and you'd be able to play that as, I'm guessing it was a subscription, but it reminds me of that a little bit. And I always felt that was a little bit of like, they're using nostalgia to make money. That was my reaction to it, and that kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, especially if
Gives
it's
me
a
a stomachache a
subscription
little bit.
service that, like, subscription services you got to be real careful with because it's like a gym membership. Like like their market, their money making strategy is for people to sort of forget about it and keep paying the money while they don't actually get anything from it.
Right.
But yeah, like unless they have like some games lined up that they have announced along with it, I don't see why you should get a platform that doesn't have anything on it.
Well, and so perhaps I have the wrong mentality, because I can understand where someone with like the hacker mentality, and I don't mean like in the, you know, hacking the computer, the do it yourself or the creative, the technical creative, would be interested in creating a hardware element where you're limited by the capabilities of the console, and you're building the hardware cartridge elements because it uses physical cartridges that are built and coded in a semi-traditional 8-bit way. It's just, I'm having that, if you're going to go the hacker route, why build off of someone else's console? And if you're going the design limitations route, why not use something that exists already?
Yeah.
Because there are brand new Game Boy Color games coming out that have come out this year.
Really? I can understand, I guess, the appeal of the aesthetics of that era of console and gaming and wanting to fiddle with those connectors and that sort of thing, but it seems to me like that's something someone else could just like build it as a custom thing to play the classic games. I don't see the appeal of this either.
Yeah. I was just I wonder if it's someone's attempt to capture that nostalgic moment. I remember back when I was a wee tiny lad, where my parents got me the original Nintendo system, and I still remember that. I remember playing Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt for days afterwards. So I wonder if someone's just trying to recapture that moment, because you can't really. I don't see any instance where you can capture that moment anymore in the technology that we have.
And I can see someone like wanting to do that as their own personal pet project to be able to do, but I don't know why, if there's a big enough market for that in terms of both the people who would want to buy it and people who would want to make stuff for the platform.
It's clearly very niche.
Yeah.
But it feels too niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they're making new CRT monitors or
Like if someone
for it too.
Like if someone wants to like rebuild like a Model T, great. But if someone wants to like make new cars that are similar in capabilities to a Model T but aren't Model T and are just like, they're not even making that, they're just making like a machine that could make cars similar to a Model T and being like, you guys make some cars for it and other people buy it and I'll just collect some money. And like, I don't, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. You know what does make a lot of sense? Checking out geekswithissues.net, where you can watch this episode and other episodes of Geeks with Issues 20XX, as well as all of the other stuff that happens, such as Between the Geeks, our between episodes specialty show. So we want to thank you for watching. We will be back for the holiday season. Since this is happening right around Thanksgiving, we hope you and yours have a lovely American Thanksgiving. And until next time, this has been...
I'm Andy.
Ogre.
And Tuck, hoping that you geek on, geek out, and geek anywhere. Just make sure you clean up after yourself. We'll see you next time on Geeks with Issues. Goodbye, everybody.
You gotta blow on it. You gotta blow on it. I used to think anything was possible. I thought that I could be a king or Caesar. But I don't need all of that gold or silver. That's how I know that I'm a true believer. Wanna climb the corporate ladder, TBS reports, politics and schemes. Thanks to my chainsaw, my cubicle is firewood. Now I'm living in a basement of dreams.